Hey guys, I'm Azra, and in this Lord of the Rings Rise to War video I'm going to show you a guide about Arwen's free Elven unit build. And I couldn't have done this video on myself. I had plenty of help from other people who have lots of experience with Arwen. And when I say other people, I mean the following players: Uskodehond, Kuznechik, Jono Sina, and of course Shilki. So big shout out to you guys. Without your help this couldn't have happened. Let's dive into Arwen's free Elven unit build. You already know that she is a supporting commander. That is a good thing. Like, the plus focus works with her skill set and the plus 5 skill points. It makes sense. She has lots of viable skills to spend these points into. Her main stat, as you see, is focus. She has lots of skills that scale with focus, and this is also what you need to invest into. The more focus, the better your Arwen gets. Her second highest stat is speed. It is quite high actually, like 240. That is a lot for a focus-based commander. She has no problems outspeeding any important mechanic. But if I were you, I would try to push two attributes: focus and might if possible. Might is her lowest stat, but that doesn't mean that it is unnecessary. You definitely want to push might after focus. Let's jump over to the gear I am equipping right now. It is a Mirkwood bow with ranged might. That is a pity. I have 3 Elven units. I should have used Elven strength, so that is a mistake from me. Belted armor with focus protection. I had some focus damage Saurons to take care of, and this is why I have the belted armor. Then Trapper's Hood with Hysteria, plus 3 attack is just a blessing for our Sentinels and also Marksmen and Bow Knights as well. But Bow Knights aren't infantry units like Marksmen and Sentinels. Accessory wise, we have the Harp of Lothlorien with Sustain. This is the best purple accessory for her. She is quite strong in her healing, and with this you also support her healing while giving you tons of focus and speed for your Elven units. Heralds and Sentinels are slow units, but with this you give them the desperately needed speed. Let's jump over to her skill set and see what's going on. So we are focusing on 3 Elven units. Half Elven, which is why we need to max out Half Elven and get the plus 30% damage increase of them. And I think this is also why it is worthwhile to go over to Boon, max this out to get the plus 20% damage boost of this, like physical damage. I know you have no control over it, like it is a 50% chance to be either physical damage received or physical damage increased for your army. But still, if this procs for your damage dealing units like Sentinels, Marksmen, Bow Knights or Keepers, that means plus 20% and plus 30% here, and those squishy damage dealers have plus 50% damage increase. That is quite a lot. But instead of maxing out Boon, I have also tried maxing out Coalition, you know, just to get the 75% chance to gain initiative for my Elven units. It looks like that is not needed. At least it didn't work out like we thought it would. So this is why we went all the way back and spent 7 points into Boon. Coalition is not needed as you may think. So this is what we ended up using with R3. At R5 you definitely need to max out Queen of the Reunited Kingdom. This is burst damage mitigation. You always need that. And while you're here, put 1 point into Parting Gift because, well, it scales with focus, and 1 point spent into this is nice to have for her healing. And then at respect level 0 to the bottom we have Undomiel. This is one of her main kits. Like, this is what Arwen does. Healing. 2 of your allied units get a 35% chance to recover a certain percentage HP. When maxed out, doesn't matter if it is just physical damage that is triggering the healing. When maxed out, all sources of damage can trigger this. And on top of that, it scales with focus. Strong healing because of Undomiel, and to the bottom because of Elven Blessing. Every 3 rounds, 2 allied units recover 60% HP when maxed out. This 2 scales with focus, and you gain a 50% chance to reactivate this effect once more. So these 2 skills are so strong, and if you pair it with an healing accessory like the Smoking Pipe or the Elven Harp, Sustain, this is how you can achieve around 90k healing on your Arwen on average. That is quite strong. And while you are here, make sure to also put at least 1 point into Cleansing Touch just to have the debuffing effect over here, like the cleansing effect. The cleanse is not to be underestimated. Evil Side has a lot of debuffs and they throw them out on regular basis. My Arwen right now is at respect level 5 and she is at level 49, I think. So if I had any more leftover points, I would invest them into Cleansing Touch just to get the bonus healing out of it. It's not much, but it is something. If I can max out Cleansing Touch, like if I increase her respect levels all the way that I can max out Cleansing Touch, that's the point where I would stop maxing out Cleansing Touch. Just put 1 point into it and then the remaining 6 points into Coalition to feel the initiative. Another possibility would be to put 2 points into Lady of Rivendell Citadel and 1 point into River's Wrath, just to have a chance, like a 57% chance to stun all enemy units on round 6, but you are wasting 3 points just to have a chance to stun on round 6. If you ask me, those points are better invested into Cleansing Touch because of the assured healing that is always triggering every 3 rounds, or into Coalition because of the high percentage chance to gain initiative. And this is what we ended up using. Like, we tried various compositions, we tried running the 1 point into River's Wrath, it didn't work out like we thought it would. We also tried instead 7 points into Boon, 7 points into Coalition. It wasn't as superior as this. Like, this is what we ended up using for Arwen at Respect level 5. Let's also quickly summarize the strengths and weaknesses Arwen has. The first strength of her is that she is just increasing the damage of Elven units by 30%, and you get also a chance of increasing that damage by additional plus 20%, meaning plus 50%. So that is her first strength. Her second strength is that she is bringing lots of healing to the table. Elven Blessing and also Undomiel. Pair that with a Sustain Pipe and you have lots of AoE healing. Her third strength would be that she also has Cleanse. It's just easy as that. Cleanse is not to be underestimated. Her fourth strength would be that she also has some burst damage mitigation with her R5 title maxed out. It's not as strong as White Council, but it is still something. Everything that helps against burst is appreciated. And her last strength would be that she has low upkeep costs. Elven units such as Marksmen, Sentinels, Heralds are easy to conscript, and this is also something you shouldn't underestimate because you can keep conscripting them on a regular basis, which means you are always in the fights. Unfortunately, Arwen still has her old weaknesses. The first and worst weakness is against elemental damage, especially fire damage. The Witch King is her arch nemesis. She will never win a fight against Witch Kings. Also against Undyings. Like, Undyings have Reapers, Mountain Trolls, and if they want, they can also have Alchemists in their army comp that is bringing lots of fire damage, while shutting Arwen's ranged army damage down with Undying's debuffing mechanics. He is quite strong against her. Not just only that, the Undying is also denying her healing because of the Undying's Respect 5 title's maxed out effect. The second weakness is Army Madness and Army Stun. She has 3 Elven units, that means you will always end up nuking yourself if you don't have Resolve or Aegis equipped, and Army Stun is just self-explanatory. All the Nazgul commanders have a first round stun. If you're stunned, you can't deal damage. If you can't deal damage, the enemy is snowballing you. So you need either warding or Aegis to fight against that. Her third weakness is definitely high commander damage. All commanders who deal lots of damage, those commanders are a problem for her, especially Gimli and Dain, like all the commanders who also have heavily wounded, because they deny also healing, and that is her fourth weakness. You can't heal if the enemy is cancelling it. Gimli, Dain, Mouth of Sauron or Sauron, they all have something to deny healing. Once you are fighting commanders like that, you will feel how your bottom Respect 0 tree won't do any work for you. Her last weakness would be Evade. As you see, she doesn't have any Pursuit in her skill set, which is why she is relying a lot on special effects of items such as Harp of Lothlorien with a Hunter's Mark, and also, let's say, the Palantir with Tactical Mark. You just need it to fight commanders such as Grima because of Prudence, or let's say, when you are up against Gil-galad, then you need those special effects as well. But anyway, you are now armed with correct weapons if you want to fight with Arwen. You know her strength, you know her weaknesses. Now it's time to talk about the gear. Her best in slot purple items are these. Weapon-wise, you want to equip a Mirkwood bow because of the +3 attack and also her elf strength. That just works perfectly fine with her strong ranged army. And then you want to follow up with 3 possible chest pieces. That could be the Hunter Skin with ranged vigor or Quilted Armor with focus protection. If you are fighting lots of focus damage dealing commanders such as Sauron or Galadriel, Gandalf the White, or units that deal lots of focus damage, that could be Keepers, that could be Oathbreakers, you get the idea. And as last option, you can also run a Scale Mail with Melee Vigor. All stats are perfectly fine for Arwen. Melee Vigor will help you if you decide to have a heavier emphasis on melee units. Her best in slot headpieces are the Trapper's Hood because of the +3 attack and also Hysteria. You may also run Ranged Vigor if if you don't have Hysteria, and let's say you are fighting lots of Madness commanders, then it's time to equip a Horseman's Helmet because of Resolve. And as your accessory, you definitely need the Harp of Lothlorien, since it has all the stats she needs, lots of focus, speed for her Elven units, Sentinels and Heralds are very slow units, but with this you increase their speed stat. And the Sustain AoE healing that scales with focus is just a nice addition to Arwen's healing kit. If you don't have Sustain, you can still make do with Hunter's Mark, because that way you counter all the Grimas and Gil-galads. Golden Gear wise, you definitely want to have an Elven White Knife as your weapon. +6 attack, that is a lot for your infantry units. Sentinels, marksmen will feel this damage increase a lot. And then as your armor pieces, you have Mithril Coat with tactical maneuvers or Ranger Shroud with resistance protection. So if I had to choose, I think I would choose the Ranger Shroud because of the +3 attack and also because of the +30% damage reduction from elemental damage. She has a big problem against elemental damage. This is why I prefer the Ranger Shroud over the Mithril Coat, but both options are fine. Then as my headpiece, I definitely want the Hunter's Guide as my best in slot golden helmet. Lots of might, focus plus attack. On top of it, Aegis. This is just perfect for her. Like everything fits perfectly. Aegis will cover 2 of your weaknesses, being Army Madness and also Army Stun. If you don't have the Hunter's Guide, just go with the Cask of the Submerged Isle. It too has Aegis. You will just lag with the +3 attack, but it is what it is. We have to make do with what we have. Now comes a very interesting part, the accessories. You do have quite some options over here. 2 of these options are very hard to get. The Carved Dragon Tooth is by far her best choice because when maxed out, you will get +6 attack for your Elven units. Do you know what that means? It means if you calculate all of the damage increases together, like Elven White Knife, Ranger Shroud, Hunter's Guide, Carved Dragon Tooth, you will have +18 damage for your Elven units. And if we compare the item synergy she has in her Elven build, you can't compare this synergy with her hybrid build, neither with her man build. Like this is +18 attack, is the highest plus attack modification she can have in the game, which is why we believe this is her strongest build. It works so well with Half Elven and Boon. On top of that, it has a very interesting special effect, Tactical Mark. This is covering one of her biggest weaknesses, being evade. So we just have to go along with the Carved Dragon Tooth. If you don't have it, you can make do with the Palantir of Orphanc. This has at least +3 attack, lots of focus, which will help scale your healing abilities and also damage mitigation. And if you don't have these 2 accessories, you can still make do with a Silver Harp of Rivendell. It may not be as strong as these 2 options, but it is your fallback plan to have at least something. Might, lots of focus, and plus defense with Might of Elves. It just works. Not as great as the other 2 options, but it works. And there you go. These are the best in slot purple and golden items for Arwen. In front of you, you see one of the 2 possible army compositions for Arwen. This is the mixed army composition, like a ranged and melee army mix. You will have Sentinels, Bow Knights, and Heralds in your army. Feel free to replace your Heralds with Keepers if you have access to them, or feel free to replace your Bow Knights with Marksmen if your economy doesn't allow to produce Bow Knights. They are expensive T3 units, and if you want to lift the burden of your conscription, go with Marksmen. The next possible troop composition for Arwen is her full ranged army composition, and that too consists of 33% Sentinels, the same amount of Bow Knights, and then you follow up with either 33% March Wardens or 33% Marksmen. And now it is time to check out some battle reports. In our first fight, we are up against Grima. Let's check out the gear. So this time we are equipping the Hunter Skin with Ranged Vigor and a 1-out Smoking Pipe with Sustain. I'm not sure why I haven't equipped the Lothlorien Harp with Sustain because of the plus speed stats for the Elven units, but I guess I forgot about that. Let's check out the Grima. He has East Sitting Spear with Bane of Mounted Units, Scale Mail with Gallant, Harad Cask with Southern Leader, Wizard's Fireworks with Hunter's Mark. And yeah, this is the meta build for Grima. I can't complain about that. All the important skills have been selected. And guys, before we continue, don't get me wrong. This video isn't here to show you how strong Arwen is in her 3 Elven unit build against Evil Side. Generally speaking, Arwen is bad when she has to fight Evil Side. That's not what she specializes in. She specializes in PvE, taking tiles. She is kinda okay when you fight against Good Side, but once you can get a hold of the recommended best in slot golden gear, I think that's when she starts to at least push a bit back against Evil Side. Unfortunately, I don't have those items, which is why we ended up receiving these battle reports. But still, keep in mind mind, she doesn't specialize in fighting evil side. There are a few exceptions, but the exceptions aren't the rule. But anyway, let's check out the snapshot page. We have done 120k-ish damage while having received 200k. And look at the healing. She has almost done 100k healing. That is quite a lot. In the detailed view, Sentinels 80k-ish damage. Heralds also did some amount of damage, 50k. Next fight is up against the Khaldoon. Let's check out her gear. This time we switched the hunter skin with quilted armor, focus protection, but that isn't going to help against Khaldoon. Khaldoon has a frenzy hammer, superior hauberk with shroud, bone mask with hysteria, warlock smoking pipe with sustain. He is running the new meta build with hunt down. Yeah, the frenzy build. That makes sense. That should totally devastate us, right? But look at this. We somehow managed to survive a frenzy Khaldoon. Let's check out the snapshot page. We have done around 220k damage while having received 200k. And look at the healing. Arwen almost done 90k healing. Sentinels 80k damage. Bow Knights the same amount of damage. A bit damage from our heralds. I can live with this outcome, like we are fighting against a frenzy Khaldoon, one of the strongest commanders in the game. Next fight is against Gorbag, and look what has happened. We have equipped still the quilted armor focus protection, but we switched to an Aegis helmet. Well, that's not really needed against Gorbag, but let's see what items he has. Is unique goblin armor with Orc's Vigor, Bone Mask with Hysteria, Drums of Moria with Haste of Soldiers, and he is running the Interrogator build. Alright, the Interrogator build has destroyed us, as I see. This was surprising. I wonder if we had equipped a flame with Bane of Orcs and also like included some Dunedains into our army comp, if we could have changed this outcome. Like the Morgul Arbalests are just running amok, they deal lots of damage, but since this is the Elven unit build, we aren't allowed to include Dunedains. So let's check out the snapshot page. We have done 120k damage while having received 330k-ish damage and only 70k healing. That's not enough. Yeah, Sentinels didn't have enough time to deal damage. They were the priority target of the Reapers. And yeah, just the Bow Knights would deal 50k damage, and that's it. That's not a lot. Now here comes a report which I really fear. Whenever I'm up against the Witch King, I know for 100% that fight is lost. The only way how you may improve this for a bit is if you have enough respect level to also max out coalition to get the initiative. That way your Elven units get a chance to wail against the Witch King's army before the alchemists get to hit you first, and in case there is still enough alchemists left to hit you, you need the golden armor, or at least one golden armor with resistance protection. That could be a ranger's shroud or it could be a high elf's hauberk. Both can have resistance protection. It would be very interesting to see that, but I don't have that here. I don't have the high respect level for Arwen to test that, and right now this is what a respect level 5 Arwen is capable against the Witch King. It's not much, but at least it's honest work, isn't it? Let's check out the Witch King. He has Cutlass with Meaty Might, Tracker Plate, Strength from Dexterity, Warhelm with Warcry, Palantir of Orphank with Tactical Mark. Meta build, Witch King through and through. So yeah, we have lost this. Look at the snapshot page. We have done around 90k-ish damage while having received 280k-ish damage. Only 20k-ish healing. That's nothing. Like, you don't even have enough time to recover your units. This is how insanely strong Witch King is with his burst damage when the enemy doesn't have elemental damage coverage. Like, isn't this crazy? Not even her Respect 5 titles maxed out effect, the burst damage mitigation, was enough to rescue us from this damage. Here we are fighting the Undying, and the Undying is also, like the Witch King, one of the best counters against Arwen. And the reason why is he is mitigating lots of range damage while also denying her healing with his Respect 5 title. And look at this, he also has Alchemist's fire damage. That too is another weakness of Arwen. Alright, let's see what items we have. Quilted armor with focus protection. Unfortunately, Arwen can't equip the hauberk with fire protection. That is just a big weakness of her. Cask of Submergile with Aegis. Well, we don't really need this against the Undying. Now we have the Harp of Lothlorien with Sustain, but that cannot help us against the anti-healing of the Undying. So let's jump over to the Undying. Ooh, Reckoning with Might of Soldiers. Warborn Battle Plate with Fortitude of Soldiers. Cask of Pride, again, Fortitude of Soldiers. Drums of Baradur, Might of Soldiers. So this Undying has best in slot golden gear. Like seriously, this is the best gear I can think of when I like seriously, he has done everything right. Everything makes sense for this Undying, and also his army composition. His skill set, there is nothing to complain. Yeah, this guy knows what he is doing. This is the outcome. In the snapshot page, we have done not even 50k damage while having received 280k damage and only 20k healing. This is the power of the Undying against ranged army comps. Let me show you two Sunind report. The first one is without Dunedains. So this is how you lose against a standard Sunind. If you're fighting with 3 Elven units, there is no way you can beat the standard Sunind build. It's just what she does. She is bursting us. She has a gigantic hammer with rend, Ranger Shroud with resistance action, Hunter's Guide with Aegis, and Wizard's Fireworks with Hunter's Mark. So you see, this is how you lose a fight against Suni. We have done only 100k-ish damage while having received 300k-ish damage and only 40k healing. This is nothing. There is a way how we can win against Suni if you build Arwen in a way to counter specifically Suni. Like if you had Dunedains in your army instead of, let's say, Heralds, Dunedains, that is the first way how to beat her. Now let me show you another fight against Sunind, and one of my fellowship mates, Kuznechik, forwarded me his battle report. Now here you see the second battle report against Sunind. In this case, Kuznechik is fighting against her, but instead of 3 Elven units, he is running man units. He has Dunedains. His army had already taken a hit from before. He is only fighting with 50% of his army. Imagine if he had 1k Swan Knights and the rest filled in instead of sharpshooters with rangers. I think that would have been a total victory against the standard Sunind. So Arwen can be a direct counter against Sunind with the right units and also the right gear that goes along with the army comp. Anyway, this was just a side note. You can totally win against Sunind's standard build, but not against her beast build. In order to build her beast build, we need to try something out. Maybe you need bow knights because of the giant slayer ability, and once you get rid of the great beasts, then the arbalests are open to be attacked from the Dunedains. The reason why is great beasts protect the weak backliners. But let's check out his gear. He has a Carver with Man Strength, Plate of the Citadel with Resilience of Man, Hunter's Guide with Discord, and Worn-Out Smoking Pipe with Sustain. Parting Gift maxed out. Interesting. I thought he would have invested 7 points into Nobility to boost the damage of man unit. This is the outcome. He has done 220k damage while having received 200k and having healed 50k-ish healing. Allied units have done, the Dunedains around 8k-ish damage. But guys, his army was like only 50% alive. We needed to see one more report with the recommended troop composition I just mentioned and also with full army. And there you go, guys. This is Arwen in a nutshell. You have seen her strength, her weaknesses. She doesn't specialize in fighting the majority of the evil side roster. Instead, she does well in PvEing, like tile taking. She's very good in tile taking and also PvPing against good side to some extent. That's where she excels at. But do not fight against glass cannons such as Gimli, Dine or Dwalin. Those damage dealing commanders are also a counter against Arwen. This video is dedicated to all people who desperately want to main Arwen. We have done 3 videos about her and her 3 Elven units build seems to be the strongest. So if you want to squeeze the best out of your Arwen, this video is for you. If you enjoyed this one, just like always, let me know by leaving a like, consider subscribing and also share the video. That helps a lot against the YouTube algorithm. And that being said, I see you guys next time.